Hello, and welcome to Finding the You in Mum, my podcast about how mothers maintain their identity and inspirations while facing the challenges of motherhood. My name is Christine Bagley Jones, and today I'm excited to introduce my guest, Jess Wickens. She is the founder and voice of the Mumma of and Empowered Celiac. And that's a platform where she shares her journey as a mother who has been faced with the huge challenge of having a child with celiac disease and how to manage that in everyday life. She's been able to inspire and bring people together on this topic, which has also invited more conversations with other mothers about how to be flexible and adjust to the changes that a family requires, whether they have a child with special needs or special requirements, or just individuality and the twists and turns that brings with a family dynamic. So welcome, Jess.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So let's start by you sharing a little bit about your journey into motherhood. Was it something that was long planned, or was it a little bit of a surprise? I always love to hear how people arrive at being a parent.
So it was actually very funny, very quick both times. So I got married October 2017. The wedding was incredible. We went on a really fun honeymoon, went on a cruise, and then for a few days down in the Blue Mountains. And we came back and I didn't feel very well. And I said to my husband, look, I don't feel great. He was trying to fob it off as just post honeymoon blues. I had the feeling, I said, no, I think this is something more than that. So I did a pregnancy test and it came back positive straight away. There were lots of tears, very excited about the whole journey that was ahead. Couldn't wait to share our news with our friends and family. And then welcomed a beautiful baby girl the following July.
Wow.
Uh, Bella came into fruition and she's just a dream. And then similar thing, it was Valentine's Day of 2020 and I was visiting my sister. Our daughters are actually 10 days apart. So very close in age. We shared a pregnancy together, which was lovely. We were doing some Valentine's Day crafting and my sister looked at me and said, "Are you pregnant?" I said, "I don't think so." She said, "I've got this feeling that you're pregnant." She had a test left over. I did it and again, straight away came back
Wow.
negative. So that was really exciting. And we told my husband in a really lovely way. I wrote a little Valentine's Day poem. My daughter did some craft and then we presented it to him that night. And then that October, we welcomed our second beautiful girl, Harper.
Wow, that's lovely. How old are they now?
Bella is 7 next month and Harper is 4.
And I guess your Instagram profile focuses very much on the fact that one of them has celiac disease. Which one is that?
Yeah, so our first daughter, Bella, she has celiac disease and it was really difficult to reach that diagnosis. She was having lots of issues and we just knew that something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And that's where our advocation journey began, really advocating for her health and trying to find answers. It meant a lot of research that we did ourselves.
Did you
Uh,
find there wasn't a whole lot of information out there to help you get better understanding?
And that is another reason why I have created the platform that I have and also written Bella and the Gluten Fairy.
So that's a book, is it?
It's a beautiful children's book and it's designed to be a lifeline for
Mm.
families like us struggling with a celiac diagnosis or just a diagnosis of an autoimmune disease in general, because there isn't a lot of information. You're kind of told, yes, your child has celiac disease, the biopsy is the gold standard diagnosis, it's come back as positive, be gluten free, off you go.
Mm.
There's not a lot of information. We didn't know, and it's been a lot of trial and error. Paper straws, brilliant for the environment. A lot of them are bound by a wheat glue, so they trigger a flare up in a celiac.
So it was a whole new world for you. And so on top of becoming a mum, you had to, I guess, segue. What did you do for work before then? Were you working before then? Because I'm imagining suddenly you were very time poor.
I wear quite a few hats. I was working in childcare, early education. I've always been drawn to educating, whether that in my role as an educator, learning support, disability support, things like that. And I did have to stop
Can you share something that motherhood offered you in the way of healing something from the past or something that you'd been previously struggling with that motherhood actually gave you the opportunity to recover from?
Bella has autism, and as she's grown, I've seen a lot of myself in her, and that has helped heal some childhood traumas that I've experienced. It's also helped me break the mold that was the way I was brought up. We're now going down a whole new path, and it's a really beautiful journey.
Is this because you feel that you've got autistic symptoms yourself and you're seeing that in your young one and just feeling sad for your younger self that didn't have someone that was as aware or empathic as you've been?
Absolutely. I have recently been diagnosed at the age of 33 with autism.
Yeah.
Growing up, I was always kind of either told that I was being naughty or I was a bit of a drama queen because there wasn't enough education out there at the time. And now having my girls, I see a lot of myself in them. So it's been really positive. We do try and I guess turn any situation into a positive. This was one of those times where I could see myself in them and make the changes, seek help and resources and educate myself better so that I can be the best mum I can to them and give them what they need.
That sounds like a really beautiful way, like you say, of a reframe and allowing something that's a challenging circumstance where no one wants to think that their kid's going to struggle in any particular way in life. But it's really beautiful that you've been able to look at it and sort of say to yourself, well, this actually is something that I can really understand with a lot of depth because I've probably lived a childhood similar to her, but without the support and without the understanding and the nurturing. So I guess, do you get to nurture yourself as well as a healthy adult and a healthy parent to yourself as well, Jess?
Yes, absolutely. And that's been a game changer, to be honest. I've been able to find a wonderful therapist. I've also been able to broaden my support network. So I've got beautiful friends that have become family that understand and want to be on that journey with us. My
Yeah.
best friend is actually here behind the scenes at the moment. She's here as my support. So, yeah, it's been really great.
What's really key, isn't it? And it's really lovely when this sort of adversity happens, you get to figure out who is in your corner and who does care for you. And also, you generate new relationships as well
Yes,
based
and
on,
I found a lot of wonderful support in certain groups, like neurospicy groups, which I love, but
yes.
also celiac groups. We've got a Celiac Australia Facebook group with families that are also navigating this world of celiac disease and autism. So you do find a lot of support.
New communities and creating new communities, which is something that's very impressive and admirable as well and much needed. So, talk to me a little bit about mother guilt. Do you think that it's a phenomenon that we can dismantle, or do you feel like it's just here to stay because it's just something that we're wired with?
I unfortunately think it's here to stay, but I have educated myself and I don't let myself feel the mum guilt as much as I used to.
What do you
I
do to prevent it when it comes? Because I know a lot of mums describe it almost comes in waves. It's like you think you're doing well, and then you realize there's something that you've dropped the ball, or you've compared yourself to someone else, and then it just comes in. And for some people, it feels like it just washes over you, and you're just in this tumble of regret, sadness, or disappointment. So, what do you do to halt that for yourself?
so I sit in my feelings and let them wash over me, and then I again transform them into something positive. You feel this way because you're a wonderful mum. The fact that you're even questioning these things means you are doing a wonderful job as a mother.
Great. So that's a perfect reframe, isn't it? You're not oblivious to the fact that you're not maybe getting it all right and there is no necessary right or wrong, but having that alertness. I do talk about guilt to clients in that it's just an opportunity to check in and ask, should I keep doing what I'm doing or do something a little bit different? It's a little wake up call. It's not something to carry with you day in, day out. It's just like a little fork in the road. Do I want to keep going this way or do something different and then respond and move on?
Yep, absolutely.
If we blend in the concept of supermom, how does that fit with the story?
I think mothers or fathers are superheroes. I really do. I think that you need to let yourself feel those feelings and think, yeah, I've done a really great job. You can have a full time job and be creative on the side, and you can still be this wonderful parent. And again, if you're thinking about it, just putting that thought into it, you're doing a great job.
That sounds like great advice. So, if your family was a reality TV show, which do you think it most likely would be?
I think we'd actually be called the Funny Farm. With our autism diagnosis, love animals, big and small, and we do have quite an array of pets. I don't know whether you can hear our dogs throwing around their food dish at the moment.
That's
They're
okay. I've just
jumping
realized
around.
my daughter's bird is chirping in the background, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to edit that out of it as well. We love animals as well. What animals do you have?
We have two dogs. We have a Whippet named
Hmm.
Cobalt. He's lovely. Thinks he's a lap dog when in actual fact he's more like a horse. We also have a little cavoodle named Teddy. We have 5 chickens. My favorite is Wigsy because it actually looks like she's wearing this beautiful long brunette wig. We have 2 lorikeets and they are currently sitting on little eggs. So hopefully we'll
Oh,
have some little baby lorikeets soon. And then we have 2 beautiful cats that we rescued,
that's
Truffles and Neptune.
it sounds like you've got a full family there. What's the best advice you could share about how you balance your job as mum and still maintaining that sense of who you are?
Have tea time, which is 30 minutes every morning where I go and I sit with my cup of tea and my teapot. And that's my time to prepare for the day. My girls love it as well. They know that they can sit down, enjoy their breakfast. That's their preparation for the day. But also making sure that I do set aside time for my creativity because that's a really important part of me. And
Mm,
I don't want to lose any parts of myself. That can easily happen during parenthood.
absolutely.
It's taken me a little while to get to that point, but now I set aside this time for myself and I
Mm,
let myself have my creativity. I let myself be inspired by things that I see. That also comes down to spending time with my girls. They are the inspiration behind a lot of the things that I've done. They're integral parts of it, and they know that as well. If we do baking, cooking dinners, they're with me because they love to be a part of everything that I'm doing, and I love that I can include them in everything that I do.
And so tell us more about your creative side. You said that it's very important to you. What sort of creativity do you enjoy?
I love photography.
Yes.
And I love that kind of candid behind the scenes. You're not looking at the camera, you're just being uniquely you. I love that photography. We recently had terrible floods here in the Hunter, and I took some beautiful photos, and they've turned out stunning, showing that there can be beauty in disaster, which is really lovely. And then, of course, my writing. Although Bella and the Gluten Fairy is my debut, I have written 2 books prior to that. I felt that Bella and the Gluten Fairy was a beautiful segue
Mm.
into the celiac journey and a nice starting point for
Mhm.
children.
Well, congratulations on that. That's a wonderful way of blending your creative talents, making a change and helping educate people and bringing people with increased awareness, but also normalizing celiac disease so it's not such an unusual phenomenon because so many people now that are gluten free because they have to, because they get really upset digestive systems if they're not. And then, of course, the far more extreme version of that is celiac disease, even differentiating around that and making space for, a gluten-free world.
Yes, and that's been something that has been a key point and reason behind the books. Things that are as simple as making sure that restaurants have a separate fryer and that they actually understand a product can be naturally gluten free. But if you're adding it to a fryer that's cooked something else, or if you're using the same chopping board, if you're using the same utensils and you haven't cleaned them, it's no longer safe.
Yes, it's very different from just having a gluten-free environment to being a celiac-free
Yeah.
environment. What's a decision that you've made that others may not have agreed with, but you knew it was right for your family?
So this is actually, it's been a process, but I have had to remove myself from my family just because the way that we want to raise our children doesn't align with their views. And that's okay. Everyone's allowed to have their own views and opinions. They just didn't align. with how we wanted to raise our children. As we know, Bella is autistic. That does not mean in any way that she's a naughty child. She has big feelings. She does have emotion regulation issues. We want to support her in any way that we can. It was really difficult. There's not a day that goes by that I don't get sad that that's had to happen. But at the same time, I know that it was the right choice for my family. Hopefully, in the near future, we can reconnect,
Mm.
and there can
Can you
be
go into more
support.
detail? So, is it all of your family of origin that you've decided to step away from?
Primarily, it was my mum.
Mm.
She does have some narcissistic tendencies, and a book that really enlightened me was No, You're Not Crazy.
Yeah.
You're just a daughter of a narcissist. And it's not my mum's fault. I'm very aware of that. They don't actually understand
Mm.
that what they're doing isn't okay.
Yeah.
So that's been a really big part of my healing journey as well, knowing that mum didn't do this on purpose.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's not something that was healthy for me,
Mm. In what
for
way,
my
Jess? Can you
mental
go into
health.
more detail around in what way it wasn't good for you as a mum in particular? I'm assuming when you made the break, once you realized that you were now a mum yourself, is that when you decided that it
That
wasn't working for you?
Yes, it's only been very recent in the last couple of months that we've completely decided to break contact. My daughter was sitting at the table and eating a meal. She was finished. We do not force our children to clean their plates. If they are full, that is okay, as long as they try something new. If they don't like it, they don't like it. We have things that we don't like as adults. We can't
Mm.
expect our children to enjoy everything they eat. She got up from the table and was told to sit down. And she looked at me with pure shock, not really knowing what to do. When I said, no, it's okay, I was then met with, if she was my daughter, I'd smack her. Just things that absolutely did not align
Yeah.
with how I wanted to raise my daughters.
So am I right in assuming that you would have been smacked as a little girl if you'd done something similar?
So I had this conversation with my husband yesterday. I had a friend over and we were going into it. He was shocked. I have had polypipe wrapped around my ankles and had massive welts. I've had wooden spoons, plastic spoons broken on me. The worst was when I was thrown into a wall. As you fall backwards, your leg comes up. It unfortunately connected with my mum. The story that my mum tells is very, very different, where I went out of my way to kick her, not
Mm.
that I got thrown into a wall. And it was really difficult. And that's something that I did not ever want to, I guess, expose my children to. There's no need to smack your child. All that did for me is traumatize me completely.
And I note that you said earlier that you've got a good counsellor. I'm really happy to hear that because it sounds like there's a lot of valuable insights you're gaining right now through this big change in your life. You're embracing motherhood and getting your sea legs around what feels right and what doesn't. And it feels like it's also awakening your need to put boundaries in place so that you feel safe to parent the way you want to and not have your mental health compromised.
And that was the key. It was setting those boundaries. And if they weren't okay with those boundaries, then I'd just break contact. My therapist is incredible. We've been doing EDMR therapy and some really
EMDR,
wonderful,
do you mean? EMDR?
yes,
Yes,
EMDR.
got it. Yeah, which is a
Um,
brilliant type of therapy.
yes. And I did have a couple of stays as an inpatient in a mental health ward, which allowed me to be diagnosed with autism as well as some mental health conditions, borderline personality disorder, which I've now been made aware is a trauma response.
Yeah.
So it all kind of aligns and makes a lot of sense. I'm very big on educating myself, and that's been a big help with my healing journey, educating myself, understanding things, and learning to navigate that world of mental health.
Mm. It feels like you've done the deep dive and you'll continue to do so. I hope that this opportunity gives everyone the chance to sort of reflect and think about if there was ever going to be some new version of the relationship, it would be with fresh values and appreciation of what all the players want, and ensuring that you as the matriarch of your family keeps yourself and your family safe also. That brings me to another question. How have other relationships within your world changed since becoming a mum, and how have they specifically supported you to maintain your individuality separate from being a mum?
So, my husband, it was just a natural progression from marriage into parenthood, we are best friends, and our relationship is so strong because it was built on amazing foundations. He's very supportive of all of my endeavors. He's incredibly proud of me. He really is my biggest supporter, along with my daughters. But it's also helped widen my support group, my village. I have some beautiful friends. We've met along the way, either from diagnosis of autoimmune diseases, being in hospital, you do connect with people.
Yes.
And then, of course, my beautiful best friends who I met through dancing and all of those fun things.
Yep, that sounds wonderful. It sounds like you've got a whole new family as you start to branch out and gain more traction around your identity as a woman with all of these things you haven't been as conscious of, even just the diagnosis of autism as an adult. While it might be quite relieving because there's an answer and a label to a lot of these inexplicable behaviors, it also means you've got to shift your concept of yourself, and your identity becomes different once we understand ourselves with these extra facets.
It has. Again, I try and make everything really positive, and I've been able to allow myself to dress that little bit more quirky in the way that I love to feel. Cutting my hair really short. That was a really big thing, especially for my family in a negative way, unfortunately. But for me, it feels like me.
Yeah, how lovely. So
Um,
you've been able to really just take the bull by the horns now, and it's kind of like, great, I'm going to run with this. I don't have to be tethered to rules or society. With this diagnosis, it makes sense for me to be able to just dance to the beat of my own drum.
Absolutely. Being aware of those social norms. And no, I don't have to dress a certain way. I don't have to feel a certain way. I can sit with my feelings and know that it's part of my diagnosis. It's actually meant that I have become a lot closer to my daughters because I see so many similarities in them. And it's helped us navigate the world of the NDIS with Bella and things that she needs.
And so, apart from your daughters and your husband, who inspires you in life?
Oh, that's really hard. I follow quite a few people on Instagram and TikTok that are very similar to me. They're a bit neurospicy and they just don't hold back. They
Mm.
live life to the fullest, and I love it. My nurses that I met while I was in hospital, they do become part of your family, especially when you've been there a few times. They're huge supporters of everything that I do, and they regularly check in. And then my best friend, of course, Denica, she's become a sister. My girls adore her. She's Auntie Denica. She's always been that person in my corner.
Mm.
She's currently sitting opposite me, creating some wonderful things for my book, which is
And
just incredible.
And the more you know about yourself, the more you know you're going to generate and attract like minded people. And it just means your little world gets to be more supportive, and you get to be involved in these inspirational people's lives who want to see you shine, and vice versa.
Yes, well, that's how I guess the book, the fact that I could write a book came to fruition as well. About 3 years ago now, we met this wonderful author and illustrator, Alex, who wrote Jack the Celiac. It's a really wonderful take on celiac disease. She goes around to libraries and schools, and she's a really integral part of Celiac Australia, and she promotes celiac disease and everything that comes with it. She helped bring Bella out of her little bubble. She has been part of music videos for Alex, and we've worked together to help bring my book to life as well.
So, if your children had to describe you outside of the idea of you being their mum, what would you most like them to say?
So I'd love for them to say that I'm their friend. I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm just a mum, or I'm your mum, you need to listen. No, I want to be the person that they feel safe with, that they can come home and tell their most exciting things or deepest, darkest secrets with no judgment. I know that Bella feels this way, that she's so proud of the book and the fact that mummy's got her name on something really special. So she kind of looks to me as a bit of a hero, which goes back onto that superheroes. And yeah, in my children's eyes, I think that's what they would say. My other daughter, Harper, she kind of struggles with a little bit of separation anxiety, and of an evening, she just loves to have a cuddle with me. And it was time for bed on Friday night. And she said, I just want to cuddle, a mummy cuddle. And I said, oh, that's okay. And then she looked at me. She said, I just want to stay. I want a mummy cuddle forever. And if I can be that comfort for them, then I've done something right.
You've done a good job. So, if you had to share one small tip that the listeners or viewers can take away from your journey as a mum and being, I guess, a guiding inspiration for those that have young people with celiac disease, what would be a tip that you'd share?
Give yourself a little bit of grace. Uh, Take the 30 minutes in the morning, call it tea time. It's wonderful. It's really fun. Sit down and be you. Don't be mum. Don't be nurse. Don't be doctor. Just be you and
Mm.
embrace everything that you feel and that comes with just being you so that you can fill everybody else's cup, because we all know you can't fill a cup from an empty cup.
That's
So
good.
take the time to fill yours and then you can fill everyone else's.
That sounds like brilliant advice. Even though a lot of us hear that advice every day, it's worth reminding ourselves that it's not a selfish act to take that time. It's essential because
It is.
if you're not in touch with who you are as a woman, separate from all the other hats that you wear, then over time, it'll erode your sense of well-being, confidence, and individuality. And then, yeah, you can't be the way you want to be with the people that you care about most. So I think that's a really great tip.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being on the show, Jess. It's been really lovely chatting with you. I really appreciate the time you've taken.
Thank you for having me. It's been something that I've been very, very excited about. This opportunity means a lot.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear you ongoingly if ever you want to be back on the show, because I feel like we have a lot of people in the world as parents now realizing that our kids aren't going to fit the mold. And I want to celebrate that as much as I want to celebrate mums and their individuality and their own identity. I want to make space for everyone to be able to thrive and not have to comply with society's construct of how we should behave or how we should show up. So I think you've been able to offer some wonderful insights today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'll definitely send you a copy of my new book when it comes
I'd
out.
love to see it. Thank you. Congratulations. That's magnificent. You take
Thank
care.
you.
Enjoy the
Thank you
chilly
so
weather
much.
down south.
Thank you.
Bye. I'll just press. Stopped recording. Thanks for
You.
that.